ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for Tea Time Wagers with good friend and colleague, Mr. Brady Kannon, as we are talking Arnold Palmer Invitational, as Brady likes to say, a big boy event. Headliner today, XANDER returns to Bay Hill. Will X mark the spot? And I can tell you this, I don't have X marking the spot this week, but a lot of the models, a lot of the so-called experts actually think he's going to have a great weekend. Wind. I think Thursday morning and potentially Sunday could raise havoc. So we'll get into all the details in a few seconds. Of course, first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. Travis, Zach, Guy, myself, Amber, Holly, Jay, Matthew, the list is endless. Come on board. It's going to be a great 2025. Viva Tequila Seltzer, 6 flavors in all. The East Coast is cuckoo for coconuts. And last but never least, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Jump on over to Facebook, introduce yourself to Terry Smith, that is, excuse me. And while you're there, head on back to AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Steaks, chops, appetizers, wines, you name it, he's got it. 4 subscription packages as well. Start eating healthy. It's March. You missed January and February. Why not March? Check the box, one of the 4. And every 30 days, Terry will deliver you protein that you will not have to go to your local supermarket or butcher shop. So without further ado, Mr. Brady Kannon.
Good morning, Mr. Dawson. I notice you have looks like a little shade of green sweater on today. That's kind of like a pre-green jacket. We're that much closer to that green jacket ceremony. And yeah, like you say, a couple big boy events here. The signature status event here, Arnold Palmer Invitational, followed by the Players Championship. And we roll right down into Augusta, Georgia, not long after that. So, yeah, I mean, the golf season is coming at you pretty strong right now. And you know how it is after the Masters. Then we've got a major every month. So we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the golf season right now.
Go back to last weekend, an event that saw, I don't want to say kind of sort of history. Mr. Knapp, minus 12 opening round, 59. I had a shot at a 58, actually. And I was thinking of you the whole time because our good friend, Mr. Sherman, at the Superbook, the under-over was 15.5. So he's got to be shaking. He's like, and what looked like was going to be, a pitching part, a dart fest. It only ended at 19, but the weekend, the back and forths, my partner, good friend Brian Gaskell, with Mr. Henley, who put himself there. I ended up on Brian Harmon, and I was really happy with the pick. I was confident. Saturday, birdie, and then he doubled the par three,
Yeah.
and the breaks. He was never the same after. What'd you see over the weekend? And your thoughts, obviously, of the minus 1259 out of the gate by Mr. Now.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get a birdie fest. And, the wind did eventually pick up a little bit. I think it was probably peaking on Sunday for the final round there, but it really didn't cause these guys too much problem, as evidenced, like you say, by the winning score of 19 under. With the projected number by the odds makers at 15.5. And that's, one of the highest winning scores we've had ever, really, going back to the days of the Honda Classic. If you go back, that's 16 events now. If you go back, I think it's 16 at PGA National, if I recall. It might be more than that. But you go back to like the first 13, and the average winning score was less than 9.5 under par. And then the last 3 years, we had Chris Kirk at 14, Austin Eckroat at 17, and now Joe Highsmith at 19. Now, one difference, of course, is they've changed the 10th hole to what is now a very easy par 5, was a very difficult par 4. So that makes a difference, certainly. But yeah, I kind of like the old Honda Classic when we were getting, 10, 9, 8 under par for a winner. And I think we'll find that again. Those will show up again. It's just about that wind showing up. They rely quite a bit, I think, on that wind popping up to make that golf course, what is already a fairly difficult golf course, even harder. And then, you're paying attention, of course, to to Henley and Harmon. I was paying attention to our guy, JJ Spawn, who ended up finishing second. But we cashed a few top 20s with Spawn and Højgaard and Lowry. So we'll see if we can build upon that in Orlando this week.
Arnold Palmer Invitational. We waited for Scotty to come back. He has come back, still Scotty being Scotty. I'm looking at one of my models right now. They have him at 12.64 percentage to win this event. He's the clear-cut favorite in this event here. To finish in the top 20, 74.34%, 91.92% to hit the top 40, to make the cut 95, almost 96%. But in comes Xander. And it wasn't a cut on his hand. We're talking rib, a muscle. I saw him practicing yesterday. You almost, as you said in the intro, we're a month away from Augusta. So I think this week and next week is a great 2 weeks for him to kind of get into form, fix what, he hasn't played. Expectations of Xander this week, Brady?
I would think he'll be okay. I don't think he's going to miss the cut or anything like that. I don't think he's going to win the golf tournament. I don't know how much he necessarily wants to win the golf tournament. That would be nice. Of course, it's not like he doesn't want to win, but I think, kind of what you're alluding to there, I think he's trying to kind of test himself. Okay, how am I doing here in real live competition? I've been sitting on my couch watching these guys go through the motions here, and he's, admittedly so, been, really scratching, going nuts, watching these guys and not being able to do anything about it. So I think he's thrilled to be back, and he kind of wants to see, all right, let's see where I'm at. Obviously he's been practicing. He said he waited a little bit longer than normal to come back. Like, he could have come back sooner, but he certainly didn't want to put greater risk on the threat of re-injury. So he took an extended period of time, probably went 2 or 3 weeks longer than maybe he necessarily could have gone, because he doesn't want to suffer re-injury and then sacrifice, Augusta, PGA, what have you. So I thought that was very smart of him. One telling sign to me was, I think it was Monday, when he was playing in the TGL. He was, I think he's on the New York team, if I recall. And he missed some shots. And I know that's just TGL and stuff like that, but he didn't look exactly, on fire and in a zone. And so, I thought that was a little bit telling to me. And I think it's probably similar what we'll see at Bay Hill. He's probably not going to hit every single shot. He hasn't been in PGA Tour level competition since Kapalua. So, yeah, I wouldn't expect that he is going to be full-blown Xander Schauffele this week. And I would think his expectations are, or his desires are, trying to become full-blown Xander Schauffele by the time they roll down Magnolia Lane. So I don't know if his mindset is even expecting that he is 100% back and ready to take on a signature status field and beat them.
Would you be surprised that if I said this model that I'm looking at right now, the second favorite, meaning percentage, to win at 5.85% is Mr. Oberg?
No, I'm not surprised. I can tell you, first of all, I thought Scotty's price, I saw one price earlier this morning when I was kind of snooping around on Scotty at 5-1. And I think that's a much better price. I mean, obviously it's a better price, but I think it's a more realistic price of what he should be at versus, plus 350 or plus 320. A lot of times, and Jeff, I've bet on Scotty at plus 225, and I felt that was a good price. But I think this is actually one of the rare occasions that I don't think we're getting a real fair shake on his number. We've seen him a couple times. He's been solid. He has not been necessarily Scotty-like just yet, and I'm sure we're going to get that soon, and it might be this week. But if I was going to take a shot with one of those, guys at the top of the board, I'd probably play Rory at twice the price, a guy that's in arguably better form, a guy who's also got great history at this golf course. Oberg, for me, I stayed away because he just won. And I don't know if I want to jump back on the train with a guy that just won a couple weeks ago. Sometimes it takes a minute to kind of come down from that. And yeah, he's got all the talent in the world. We know that. And this golf course is a good fit for him and all that stuff. I can also tell you that I got my report from my friends at BetMGM today. And the most popular three players as far as ticket count percentage, the highest ticket count is on Scotty Scheffler. The second highest ticket count percentage is on Rory McIlroy. The third highest ticket count percentage is on Ludwig Oberg. And as far as handle, again, Scheffler, McIlroy, Oberg. As far as the largest liabilities, the ones that will sting BetMGM the most, Scotty Scheffler, the second most, Rory McIlroy, the third most, Ludwig Oberg. They are across the board, 1, 2, 3 in all categories. And, we've talked about it before. Those are, typically guys I want to stay away from. You know how that goes when the book is kind of overloaded in one direction. I don't necessarily want to be in that camp. So, not that and hey, Scotty was in that position, 8 times last year and stuck it to the books, right? So it doesn't mean they're not going to win, but I'm glad I'm not on any of them this week.
Last question before we dig into the Arnold Palmer Invitational. We've been doing shows now for a while, and there's certain guys where they get to certain prices. You're like, oh, geez, here we go. And we had this with the Ricky Fowlers, the Justin Thomases. I saw a tweet. He's bringing back the old putter. Are we about time to say maybe Mr. Victor Hovland might return, or is this still a wait and see, Brady?
Well, I know a couple very sharp people that like Victor Hovland this week, but I just couldn't get there. I don't know if I'm ready to. I jumped in on him at Pebble Beach, if you recall, and he did pretty well. He played pretty well. He admittedly said it doesn't feel like I'm really close to being, back. And I would say that's pretty accurate because, Victor Hovland at his best was, nearly winning major championships. So, he's still Victor Hovland, but he's not, I don't think he is in the shape or the form where we have seen him in the past. And I don't know if that's going to show up just yet here at the API. Again, a very difficult golf course. I would say more difficult than Pebble Beach, certainly for the way they set it up for the AT&T Pro-Am. I had a really tough time this week, Jeff. I came up with 4 outrights, and I really wanted to get to 5, and I had a tough time just getting to 4. You look at the guys that popped in when I run my stats. Of course, Scheffler comes out on top. I didn't want to go there. Schauffele comes out very high. We've talked about him. I didn't really want to go there. Michael Kim, guy's been playing great, but is he all of a sudden going to be able to win now against a signature status field? I didn't think so. JJ Spawn, the same thing. Guy's been playing great. We were on him last week. A lot of these guys, like Taylor Pendrith, this golf course this week is probably better suited for him than it was last week. But, we've got a whole new class of players in this field now. So some of these guys that are going along pretty good, Lucas Glover, Shane Lowry, Pendrith, Kim, Spawn, Joe Highsmith. I mean, are these guys going to pop at Bay Hill against the Schefflers and the McIlroys of the world? I didn't think so. And I didn't go to the top of the board for various reasons. And I was having a tough time finding diamonds in the rough this week and only came up with 4 outrights. I wanted to find 5, but you can't force it either. I almost landed one of the guys that came to mind, and maybe I'll go back there. Last time I looked at Circa, this guy, I want to say I saw him at 95 to 1. And the last time I checked, he was at like 130 to 1. They're really begging me to put a couple shekels on this guy. Cam Young. The guy has the game that is built for this golf course, but is he ever going to win? I mean, 7 runner-ups. He's got boatloads of talent. And one of these, and I might literally just put $5 on him or something like that at 130. Who knows? Maybe he's up to 140 now. But he's got the perfect game for this track. But I couldn't get there with him. I was trying to find guys like that, and anyway, only came up with 4, but Hovland was another guy. It was kind of similar last week with Ricky Fowler. I was like, boy, he makes a lot of sense at this course, but the current form and eventually, it was kind of both of what I thought. Yes, Ricky played very well, but no, Ricky didn't win it. And that's what I was kind of thinking. So I'm glad I didn't at least waste a couple dollars on him to win the whole thing. He did finish top 20, would have cashed that ticket. But I kind of feel similarly this week about Victor Hovland. Yeah, he makes a lot of sense here, but I just don't know if so much about picking outrights, Jeff, as you know, is timing, right? I don't know if the timing is just right yet on Victor Hovland.
And one of the names that you brought up there was the social media darling last week, and I haven't heard a peep about him this week, and that's Shane Lowry. And we know if he's near the leaderboard and that putter gets hot, forget about it. I'm not saying he's going to run down a Scotty or a Rory, but he's one of those guys, if you don't have him on your card and on the weekend he's on that front page, he's probably not going away.
Yeah, and we were on him last week and he cashed the top 20 for us. I mean, he had a nice tournament. He always plays well at the Honda. And he doesn't have a tremendous history at Bay Hill. He's got a great history overall on the Florida swing, and he plays difficult golf courses really well. I don't know if the length of this golf course is necessarily in his wheelhouse. He's got loads of talent. We know that. He's a very accurate driver of the golf ball. The putting has been his issue this year. He's got some tremendous touch around the greens, but actually rolling the ball with the flat stick has been really his bugaboo this season. And, a lot of people are on him this week because he finished 3rd here last year. I didn't want to go there because, it doesn't feel to me like last week. I thought Lowry was a great pick. He's got great history. The field is a little bit down. He's absolutely one of the class players in this field. Now you look at the field this week, he's not even top 10 in my book. He's maybe top 20 players in this field. And when was the last time we saw Shane Lowry win? And with the popularity and with what, you know, the recency bias, oh, look how well he did last year, he's going to do great again this year. You know, like I said, it was difficult for me this week. There were a lot of guys that I couldn't check a lot of those boxes where I said, okay, does this, that, yep, and yep, oh, yep, let's play him. I couldn't find a lot of those guys. I kept finding one reason or another to stay away from them.
Arnold Palmer Invitational, March 6th through the 9th, Bay Hill Golf Course, Orlando, Florida. Par 72, yardage 74.66. The fairway is yours. Correlated courses this week, Brady?
Yeah, you know, that's the theme with the Florida swing. It's so much about ball striking. And this is, like I said, a big boy track, as you noted, almost 7,500 yards. I think distance off the tee trumps accuracy here. I looked at strokes gained off the tee. I looked at driving distance. I looked at total driving. I looked at strokes gained approach. I think it's so much of that, you know, that distance off the tee. The rough is very thick here. We don't typically see this. It's kind of like Torrey Pines, where, you know, there's not a whole lot of tournaments outside of the majors where we see the rough this thick, and you've got some pretty thick rough. This is one of the hardest golf courses on the circuit to hit greens in regulation. And I think that's because of not only the length of the approach shots, but also that thick rough. If you find yourself in there, these greens are relatively large, but they are very firm and very fast. Also, Bay Hill, when you include the par 3 holes, it is known for the most approach shots of 200 yards or better. So I looked at hole proximity from 200 yards or better. A lot of long par 4s here. So I looked at the par 4s between 450 and 500 yards. I looked at scrambling, of course, because like I say, it's hard to hit greens in regulation here. You got to get up and down. And then, of course, I looked at strokes gained putting on Bermuda grass. The correlated courses, I think the strongest one is probably TPC Scottsdale. Another ball striker course with Bermuda grass greens. Scotty Scheffler's won at both properties twice. Southern Hills, where they played the 2022 PGA. Quail Hollow, you know, again, total driving, rough, similarities there. Oak Hill, where they played the 2023 PGA Championship, big boy golf course for sure. Memorial Park, where they play the Houston Open, and Olympia Fields, where they played the BMW Championship a couple times as a part of the FedEx Cup playoffs in the last few years. And, you know, if you're just going off of those correlated courses, Victor Hovland makes sense in that regard as well. But that's kind of where I started the handicap. And the first guy I landed on, I think a guy that makes a bunch of sense, is Justin Thomas at 25-1. I thought the price was pretty good too. And I've seen even as high as 28-1. I've seen lower. I've seen him start to tick down at some books into the neighborhood of 24 and 22. He's been maybe the best track record in the game at TPC Scottsdale. So you have that connection there. He finished 6th at Scottsdale just a month ago. And that was actually the first of 2 straight top 10 finishes he has coming in. He has 3 top 10 finishes this season. The last 36 rounds, he ranks 3rd in this field for strokes gained approach. He's 7th on the par 4s of 450 to 500 yards. And he's gotten progressively better every time he plays the Arnold Palmer. He started out, this is the 4th time he's played it. He started out 49th, and then he went 21st, and last year he finished 12th. So maybe that means he ascends to first place this year. We'll take that. But he was one of the guys that checked a lot of boxes for me. And the price, I think, is very fair and pretty generous for a guy that, you know, is having a very good year. It kind of feels to me like he's a little bit under the radar, which is weird, you know, with 3 top 10 finishes and 5 or 6 starts. But, you know, kind of all the buzz has been about Scotty and Xander returning and Oberg and Rory. So we'll see if Thomas can have a nice week. And then I went to Maverick McNeely at 56-1, and I've seen him higher. I've seen him in the low 60s, 61, 60, 62-1. Not a ton of difference there, but obviously you want, and I don't necessarily think there's a drift on McNeely and Price because people don't think it's a good week for him. I just think 60 is closer to what maybe the real price ought to be. I was, tempted to wait because I had a feeling it would get to 60. But I said, you know what, I got to get this done. I'm going to take the 56 and I'm okay with that. Just like Thomas, he also has 3 top 10 finishes this season and is also coming in off of 2 straight, one of which was at Phoenix when he finished 9th. And the last one was at Torrey Pines, big boy golf course, big boy rough, gets clipped at the very end by Oberg when it looked like he might win the darn thing, finishes runner up. And I like how he finished that tournament, was scheduled to play Mexico, and then withdrew and said, you know what? No, I'm gonna back off a minute. And he's had a couple weeks to kind of chew on that finish, how well he did against a signature status field, against the best in the game. And now, okay, let's go out and get it again. I kind of like how he is set up coming into this tournament off of that runner-up at Torrey Pines. Guy's been playing great golf. We're kind of seeing the Maverick McNeely that we expected him to be many years ago before he suffered a great deal of injury. And now it's like a rebirth of his career. And I think this guy is, it feels to me like he may have multiple wins in him this season or over the course of the next couple years for sure. 13th in this field for strokes gained approach, 19th for greens in regulation gained, 17th in hole proximity from that very important distance I mentioned, 200 plus yards. He's 6th on the par 4s of 450 to 500 yards. And ranks 7th in this field, oh, by the way, for strokes gained putting on Bermuda grass. So nothing says that there's anything wrong with this guy coming in to this tournament and why we should not be on Maverick McNeely in my mind. And then I went with a guy I don't know if I've ever played a future on before, Minwoo Lee at 75 to 1. He is arguably the longest driver of the golf ball in this field. Technically, I believe he ranks 2nd. I think maybe behind McIlroy. The point is he absolutely bombs it. And, you mentioned it at the top of the show, Jeff. We are expecting some wind. Could be some severe weather in Orlando today. I think it's going to soften up that golf course. It'll make it play even longer, where driving distance, is even more important. And wind on Thursday, probably gusts into the 20 and 25 mile an hour range, and then possible moisture and wind again into the 20 mile an hour range on Sunday. So I think driving distance may be even more crucial this week with the wind and with the elements. Australians are typically great wind players, and they have played well here, probably because of the wind at Bay Hill. Jason Day and Mark Leishman, both winners, won in back-to-back years. Leishman has also finished runner-up. Minwoo Lee, of course, another Australian. He comes off of a 12th place finish at Phoenix. He was 18th in 2023 at Oak Hill. Over the last 36 rounds, he is 24th in this field for hole proximity from 200 yards or better. And the form has been very good. He's got 3 top 20 finishes and 4 starts. So I think he's a guy that, again, probably has some wins in his future. He is a budding star, and at 75 to 1, I've seen him around 80. I've also seen him around 60. So depending on where you shop, there is some interest on Minwoo Lee, and I think rightly so. And then finally, this is a guy that hasn't been in form in about 18 months, but he's got a great track record, and that's Matt Fitzpatrick. And I got him at 95 to 1. He's finished 10th and 15th at Phoenix in the past. He's been 14th and 9th here at Bay Hill, 5th at Southern Hills, and 6th and runner-up at Olympia Field. So he crushes the correlated courses. Last 36 rounds, he's 13th in this field for strokes gained putting on Bermuda grass. Now, again, he was red hot in 2022 when he won a major and in 2023, and then he's cooled off. He's been off the boil for, like I say, the last year and a half, but he's such a good fit here. Okay, so Victor Hovland, another guy that's a really good fit here, but I feel like his form has been more askew than has been Fitzpatrick's. And in the case of Fitzpatrick, I'm getting twice the price. I'm almost at 100-1 with a major champion who's done very, very well and has all the tools for this golf course and may just decide to show up this week. So there's where I'm at with the 4 plays.
And also top 20s there, correct?
Yeah, played each of them for a top 20, and you got to pay a little more. You're not getting as good of odds on a top 20 finish position market this week because there's only 72 players in the field. I had to play minus money on Justin Thomas. I've seen as low as minus 110. I laid closer to minus 140, which I don't mind. I mean, he should be able to finish top 20 out of 70 guys. So I wasn't worried about the price there. But yeah, the rest of the guys were plus money. McNeely about plus 150, and Minwoo Lee and Fitzpatrick in the neighborhood of 2-1 or better. So yeah, played each of them for a top 20.
And lastly, we have a little cherry on top with some live action this week.
Yeah, Live Hong Kong, which gets underway, I want to say around 11 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday night. So we've got a little time for you to do some research, get your bets in. The Hong Kong Golf Club, which has been around for decades, and they've played a number of European Tour events there in the past. Patrick Reed actually won the Hong Kong Open in 2024. Ian Poulter won it here in 2010. It's a very short course, a par 70, but only 6,700 yards. Cam Smith has been runner-up here before. Abraham Answer won last year when the Live Tour was there. This is the second year that Live has been at this golf course in Hong Kong. But with the length of the course and the design of the property, I think driving accuracy is very important. And that's evidenced by the fact that Abraham Answer and Ian Poulter are former winners here. Very accurate drivers of the golf ball. So I ended up going with Sergio Garcia. He is second on the Live circuit in driving accuracy. He is 9th in birdie average, 4th in scrambling, and 4th in putting average. I got him at 20-1. I think you can find as high as 23, but he's right in that low 20s neighborhood. He has finished 6th and 19th at this golf course in his career. And I think Sergio, at the Live Tour, you've got Rahm and you got Neiman and you got Hatton and you got Koepka. Sergio kind of feels like that forgotten old man, but he's right there. So I'll take a shot with Sergio at 20-1. And then I went with Anirban Lahiri, who is very similar to Sergio in the stats, 11th in driving accuracy, 9th again in birdie average, 4th in scrambling, 10th in putting average, and he was 7th off of a 7th place finish in his last start at Live Adelaide in Australia. Got him at 40-1, a really nice price on Lahiri. And then I went way down the board with a guy that had a great tournament in Adelaide, Australia as well, Sam Horsfield, the Englishman, also a Florida Gator, at 80-1, 14th in birdies on the Live circuit, 11th in scrambling, 4th in putting, and I mentioned a 7th place finish a few weeks ago in Adelaide. So that's the 3-pack there, Sergio, Lahiri, and Horsfield in Hong Kong.
Well, as we always wrap up this segment of the show, Brady, everyone knows on Twitter where to find you at Las Vegas Golfer, but we're going to hand you the mic to tell everyone, A, where they can find your written work, and B, of course, your schedule on the Sports Grid.
Yeah, every week at golf.com, the article comes out on Tuesday afternoon. Excuse me. And then on Sports Grid, not long after the show here with you, Jeff, Sports Grid at 7:30 Eastern time. And then again at about 10 p.m. Eastern time with Gabe and Cam. And then sounds like you and I having a conversation backstage. We'll be joining each other a couple times possibly this weekend on Sports Grid on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, I can't wait, of course, not just Arnie Invitational. We got some live golf here to do some homework and research. Brady, always a pleasure. Have a great, great day, and I'll be watching you on the grid tonight.
Thank you, my friend.
Brady Kannon, go follow him at Las Vegas Golfer, and make sure you check him out on the Sports Grid. Excuse me. Quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
That's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Welcome to Good Food. At Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, you'll find the highest quality meats from a variety of delicious cuts. Tomahawks, salmon fillets, ribeyes, and plenty more to choose from. With an easy-to-use mobile-friendly website, selecting your pick of meat is made quick and easy. And don't forget, worrying about your dinner is a thing of the past. Check out some of the amazing subscription packages that Atlanta Steaks and Seafood has to offer. From fresh steak and seafood straight to your door. Order online at atlantasteaksandseafood.com.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Tyler Wyatt, our next scheduled guest, will be back tomorrow, 11:40-ish. Life gets in the way, so we're going to bring him on after. Adam Trigger will be here 11 a.m. talking some college hoops, and then Tyler Wyatt will be back to follow him up with some more college hoops. That's at 11 a.m. tomorrow. 5 p.m. tonight, the closing bell. Myself and Riley Magnuson will get you caught up in today's action, get you caught up in some conference play in college hoops, talk some more golf, some UFC, Mr. Pereira. Short favorite in the UFC. We'll talk about that, and some NFL trades, what's going on in MLB, of course, there. Great show as always, guys. Keep up the great work here. A lot of big stuff brewing back here. Hopefully we have some breaking news sooner than later here. Again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So we've been here now for 10 full years. This is our 10th year to be exact. So we're doing our duty, and we just hope to educate everyone watching and listening here, and of course the old win, grin, and profit at the end of the day. So for myself, Jeff Dawson, DC Sports Invest, a shout out to Mr. Kyle Mazur at Live Zone Sports, a shout out to Mr. Elijah Cox. Can't do it without you guys. Guys, have a blessed day, and we'll be back at 5 o'clock. Stay tuned.